Shaykh Muqbil, may Allah have mercy upon him, was asked pertaining to the ruling of establishing a second jama'ah in a masjid which already has a jama'ah, whereas a person comes late, he missed a prayer, and he wants to establish a second jama'ah. What is the ruling of this? So when Shaykh Muqbil was asked this question, he says, يَجُوزُ لِمَنْ تَأَخَّرَ مِنْ غَيْرِ تَعَمُّدٍ. It is permissible for the one that comes late, if he does it unintentionally, if he does it with an intent of coming and making for a second jama'ah, just as a coincidence, it's allowed for him. And he says, الدليل حديث أبي سعيد الخدري. The proof is the hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, may Allah be pleased with him. And he says that the wording is, أنه دخل رجل بعدما انتهوا من الصلاة. That a man entered after they completed the prayer. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من يتصدق على هذا. There then the Prophet ﷺ said, who will give charity to this man? Or he said, or similar wordings to this, or بهذا المعنى. Also side benefit, Shaykh al-Uthaymin, may Allah have mercy upon him, he says those masajid al-khutut, those masajid that are for those passing through and they don't have a certain imam or mu'adhin, or just those passing through may come and lead and be the imam. Here, these masajid is allowed to have a second jama'ah with the consensus of the scholars. There's no difference of opinion. The difference of opinion is a masjid that has an imam, a mu'adhin, and a group of people that always constantly come from the community to pray in. Is it allowed to come and establish a second jama'ah in those masajid? This is a matter of difference of opinion. So some use the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said to this man who came late, who will take him and give him charity. So the Prophet ﷺ allowed the second jama'ah here. However, the other group have responded by saying that this is for a man who hasn't prayed along with someone who already prayed. So they said it's not similar in the ruling. But what's being brought forward here is that the origin that is permissible to establish a second jama'ah. Because Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says, وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ. Pray along with those who are praying. And Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala mentions the masajid as a place for jama'ah. So the original ruling is that it's permissible. And the Shaykh, he goes on to say, أما كراهية بعض السلف للصلاة في مسجد قد صلي فيه. He said, as for the dislikeness of some of the Salaf, the scholars of the past, of praying in a masjid that has already been prayed in, فمن أجل أنه حدث من بعض الخوارج وبعض المعتزلة أن الأمير أو الإمام إذا كان يرتكب شيئا من الذنوب لا يصلون بعده ويتأخرون عمدا. He says it's due to the reason that some of the Khawarij and some of the Mu'tazila, when their Imam or their ruler, the person of authority, commits some of sins, they don't pray behind him, and they purposely come late. Whereas they come, ثُمَّ يَدْخُلُونَ وَيُصَلُّونَ. Due to this ideology, the Salaf disliked it. هذا الذي كرهه السلف. And he said what is similar to our time, the Jama'at Takfir, those who make takfir upon the rulers, that they purposely come after the first Jama'ah has been completed, then they come and establish a second Jama'ah. So said the scholars, such as from the Madhab Imam Malik and so forth, they disliked it mostly from this angle, that it's a means of differing, and iftiraq al-kalima, it divides the unity of the Muslims, especially if they have a known imam and a group and a mu'adhin, then a person comes and establishes a second jama'ah. Also, they use certain narrations that Abdullah Mas'ud is found in the book Musannif ibn Abi Shayba and also Musannif Abd al-Razzaq, that he came along with some of his companions, and when they found that the jama'ah in the masjid was already completed, they went home and prayed. However, this narration, some of the shuyukh of Yemen, they said it comes from the chain or the narrator of Salama bin Kuhail. And they said this man hasn't heard from Abdullah Mas'ud. So it is disconnected. Also comes another chain with a man that has some weakness. And they use another hadith that's found in Tabarani, that the Prophet ﷺ, he went to the Masjid Quba and he found that the people have already prayed. So he went back to his house and he prayed therein. This hadith, the likes of Shaykh al-albani and some of the scholars may use this to show that it's not allowed and is in opposition to the sunnah to establish a second jama'ah. However, some of the other scholars, here Shaykh Muqbil mentions that أعده الإمام الذهبي والإمام ابن عدي من مناكير أبي مطيع معاوية ابن يحيى البلخي. That Imam al-Dhahabi and also Ibn Adi considered this hadith from that which was been criticized against the narrator of who is called Abu Mutai' or Mutai' Muawiyah ibn Yahya al-Balkhi. So it's from his errors that he erred in. And also in the chain is a man named Baqiyya bin Walid, hadithuhu ghayru naqiyya, that his man who comes with narrations that he hasn't really heard from due to him quoting on those who he hasn't heard from. He has to narrate by saying he heard from each one in each stage of the narration. And he didn't do so, so for that reason the hadith has some weakness. Although some of the scholars debate, and Shaykh Muqbil, he had a strong debate with his students pertaining to this hadith, and at the last opinion of the Shaykh that he died upon, that the hadith is what he inclines to being considered to be weak, although there's a difference of opinion pertaining to him. Also there's a narration on Anas ibn Malik that Shaykh al-Albani authenticates in some other scholars that he established a second jama'ah in a masjid that was already prayed in. So this shows you that it's permissible to do so. And as for those who do this constantly and make it their habit and make an excuse and do it intentionally, then these are people in opposition and they're opposing the kalima, the word of the Muslims, and being together, praying along together, whereas he just establishes it and becomes a constant habit for him to rely upon. But as for someone who comes late or missing it, then this is something allowed for him, as is found in the hadith that Shaykh Muqbil mentioned of Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, also comes in a narration of Abi Umam and others. Man yatasaddaq ala hada, who can give charity to this man? So it shows you the origin that it's permissible to pray a second jama'ah in a masjid that has already been prayed in. Allah knows best. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.